Hi all, Kyber1 here, and we're doing our second review of a SPIRE The City Must Fall RPG line. Um, so this is listed as a campaign frame for SPIRE the RPG, or the SPIRE RPG. This split takes place, it's called the Kings of Silver. This takes place in something called the Silver Quarter, which is detailed more in the actual core rulebook. But let's begin. Beneath the icy streets of Amaranth and above the moldering rooftops of Ivory Row, the Silver Quarter is where the wealthy drow of Spire come to see and be seen, and where the Aelfir come to misbehave. It is a garish web of mage-lit walkways and balconies where filthy canals flow uphill, or in impossible patterns throughout. So instantly we have something bizarre. And that's fun. Because I don't know. To me, this feels like if Neverwinter or Waterdeep went a little further, honestly. And I like that. I really do. But this isn't typical fantasy. You're talking shotguns, drugs, adult clubs. This is definitely not a product to run with kids under certain circumstances. And so there's a civil war going on. You have several factions. I mean, there are literally a million ways to start this campaign with a D10. No kidding. 10? Okay. Which house is the Drow noble claiming to come from? So you have 10. What is the most interesting feature here? Another D10. That makes it 100. Because 10 times 10 is 100. What is the name of this gambling house club, and what's interesting about it? Times 10 is 1,000. What's today's festival? Times 10 is 10,000. Mise So's domain, what's going on? Times 10 is 10 or 100,000. The city guard garrison and surrounding streets, what's going on? Times 10 is 1,000,000. And you have all sorts of notes and kind of handouts, and then these are redone throughout, and they tell you how to set it up. I don't want to get too far into this because it is an adventure, but I just showed you there's 1,000,000 ways to start this campaign. And you have all sorts of suggestions on how to run it, and by maintaining I mean, look at this art style. This art style is cool. I like it. By maintaining this suggestion-based model, you put more power in the hands of the game master. And there's all sorts of variants to this. And because I don't think... let's get past that. I don't think that in these few pages there is less content how do I word this? I think in these few pages, there's potentially more content than the thickest mega dungeon you've encountered so far. And why do I say that? There's over 1 million ways to run this out of this little book. And the pre-generated characters, well, once again, they're interesting. You have a knack for formal duels. Refresh, being a criminal to justice. So basically, you can reclaim part of your abilities by being a criminal to justice. So, like think Robin Hood. And then there's just interesting things like share a moment of intimacy with another person. Like, different things make different people feel better, and that is what the refresh is about. Engage in reckless excess. The refresh for this character is show someone they should not have underestimated you. And this one is make a deal that benefits you more than the other party. This one is help the helpless. And you have a ton. Yeah, I'm flipping through these kind of quick, but I don't want to spoil anything too badly because this is an adventure. But if you're going to write an adventure, I would highly recommend picking one of these up. And one of the things that slightly bothers me is that there aren't any maps in this book necessarily, but that kind of lets theater of the mind take place. Like, I don't know why I like grid-based maps. Maybe it commands a more sense of realism in my mind for how something laid out, but SPIRE is a very surreal game. And with more than 1 million ways to run it, it's a definite win in my book. So, well, once again, this is highly recommended because there's so much variance, and I doubt 1 million people own this simply because it's not Dungeons and Dragons. So I can almost guarantee you that your experience running or playing this will be completely different than another person's. And that's because you have a literal process for how your character is different than every other character. Like, you do have classes, but you have so many other things that makes you unique. It's beautiful. And there's nothing more than I want people to enjoy making content. And if you have products that inspire people to release their own variation, then that's good for everybody. Because variability is a new emerging sort of essence of role playing. And SPIRE has done that very well. All right. Kyburn 1 out.